what to write about. Trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know. I don't know.
That was the great sounds of Watson with Outside on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, with my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, EZ BlueZ is in the building. Easy Blues, you're better with introductions more than me. Who do we have thus today on Behind the Brand?
Ladies and gentlemen, there was an amazing game that we used to play back in the day. It was called 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. And it was just to show exactly how interconnected we were as a society and as human beings. And when you can do that with your real life, and you can see just the amazingness that goes beyond the surface of just the people you get to see on an everyday basis, when you get to see the extension of amazing people that connect with amazing people, that connect with amazing people, it is truly an honor and a privilege. Now we're going to take that journey. We're going to go down. We're going to look at things with our eyes, because this is a visual artist, someone that takes the moment and is able to fully put it through the medium in which they are doing. It is absolutely amazing when you get to watch and you get to see something from another perspective and another person's eye. And for that, visual art will forever be just a wonderful place in my heart. So I want you to put your hands together. Not if you're driving. If you're driving, please keep your hands at 10 and 2. You don't need any accidents. Yeah? But mentally, put your hands together for, honestly, one of the coolest members of the Rookery out there right now. No joke. Seriously, this person is absolutely incredible. Phenomenal visual artist, incredible mom, amazing wifey, and really just an absolute awesome human being to be around. I've had amazing conversations, really only knowing them for about a month. So please put your hands together like this for Angela Casey Brown. I can say Casey Brown, right? In case, I just want to make sure. Because, how are you? Welcome, Benvenuto.
Doing good. How's it going?
It's going well. Now, your story in particular, right? When did art choose you, or when did you choose art? For real.
Oh, wow. For real. Since I was a kid, I
For reals.
always had a crayon in my hand. Always had coloring books. It's my outlet. If I don't make marks on paper, I am just lost. I feel absolutely lost. I need to be doing something with my hands at all times.
Very, very, very interesting, because that is one of the most incredible things that we really discovered in doing the show over and over again, is those that are meant to do it have been doing it forever. It is not, you didn't necessarily choose to be an artist as much as an artist's soul lived within you, and you've always carried that crayon on you. When did you really want to make that jump to make it, a career, considering the rest of the world tells us you can't do that? And it's hopefully you have a side gig and yada, 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 but you're out there and you're taking these beautiful swings. When did that decision happen?
Oh, wow. When it comes to something like that, I knew I always wanted to create visually. Mm-hmm. But when it came to actually just putting myself out there and being like, hey, like I could actually make an income doing this. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until I noticed other people, locals, doing things like that, and they just went all in. And I asked myself, what's stopping me from doing that? And I feel like even though I've had people support me with kind words and everything, actually watching some friends that we had in a previous town that we lived in, they were absolutely supportive, gave constructive criticism. And they were just so supportive. And after meeting them, we started meeting other people that just went all in on their craft. And it's like, once you start seeing things like that, mm-hmm. you kind of see or at least you witness a strange momentum in positivity all around you. See one person doing one thing that's totally unrelated to what you're doing, and you kind of take these optimistic cues from them, if that makes any sense. And you kind of just apply it to what you do. And you just keep going. And when you keep going and you keep doing that, you start getting more, I don't want to say signs. You just kind of keep taking in all of these great things that you can give to the world. And you just keep going. And I know it could be some undiagnosed OCD where I have to just keep doing it. But if I feel like if I stop now that I know that people are willing to support what I'm doing, if I stop, I feel like I'm gonna kind of get in this paralysis mode. And I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back there. And I don't think anybody does.
And what I think is absolutely incredible, and first of all, thank you so much for being as open as you were with that. You know, you didn't have to pour out your soul, but I'm so glad you did, because it's so much realer of a content and really what people need to hear from an artist. You know, because there are these goals and there are these aspects, and there is this constant turnabout that this is not a real thing, that this is, imaginary. Okay, this is just a phase that you're going through. But for a lot of us,
right,
the art is so important. It actually becomes part of us. You know, I'd say all the time, you know, only the people who truly know me have seen me on stage, because that is the realest me you're ever going to find. And I get that when looking at a lot of your artwork. And, you know, obviously I have a cheat sheet because, you know, we speak, so I can actually feel your passion for art from our conversations of lunacy that we have.
Oh, yeah. You guys put out a great show.
That's not about us, not you. We can talk about our amazingness off air. You know, we can just book a time to have the Penguins on one time. But, you know, it's really amazing to see, and also terrifying to admit. And I'm hoping that this interview, there's somebody sitting at home right now watching some of their friends make art, and, you know, yes, having that question, but it not being that depressive question, because I've been in those moments of why not me. I've also, you know, as an artist, you know, turned on the radio and heard what was a hit song, and I was like, this is complete and total sugar and sappery. I don't understand why people love it, but you know, there's got to be something wrong with me. And that's not the way to be. The way to be is exactly how you did it. You saw people around you that were doing it, and you said, hey, I just have to believe in myself and my art enough to do it as well. And that is the much better and healthier way to do that. So I want to give you your flowers for that right now.
Oh, thank you so much. I want to go back to what you just said, though.
Yeah, please do.
Go in that, when you're stuck in that mode, why not me? Why not me? There must be something wrong with me. But then when you catch yourself saying things like that about yourself, it's more like, wait, this isn't productive. I'm not going to get further in what I love to do if I keep speaking about myself this way. And it's one of those things where you just have to kind of snap yourself out of it.
See, I was lucky enough to be blessed with ODD, which oppositional defiance disorder. So the more I get down upon myself, the more I want to fight back. So it actually works better for me just to sit and wallow, and then I become an angry monster and I can take on the world. But that's my superpower.
It's a blessing and a curse. It sounds like blessing and a curse.
It totally is. It totally is. But, you know, that's one of the most incredible things, and something that I really have learned, especially with talking with artists and really talking with anyone who's super passionate about their career and about investing in themselves. Look, we don't pour salt in anyone else's hustle. If you are totally content and happy in life, waking up and working for someone else's dream, then you found your happiness, and I'm happy for you. But for some of us, we can't do that. There comes that point in time where I just go, okay, I love doing this as a job, but I'm losing myself in doing this, and I need to move on and move forward. I have to work for myself. I have to figure out a path to just be myself and get paid doing it. Now, as you go into those moments, and you do grow through this, how have you been able to navigate that? Because it's horribly troubling water
Oh,
sometimes.
it is. I was fortunate enough to have, I don't want to say opportunity, because I didn't really create that space where I was able to do it. It was more like, hey, I have a chance where I'm able to, oh, hey, I have a chance to create something, and I don't have responsibilities for the day. So when you have a chance like that, you just have to take it. And a lot of us, I feel, in my opinion, we get stuck in, I'm going to do this on this day. You treat everything like an event, like I often do, because naturally I'm a date setting person. But let's just say in everyday life, I have little paint stations around the house.
Nice.
So I have little cups of water around the room. People think I'm going to fight off aliens.
That's fine.
Like, yeah. Pull a little Joaquin Phoenix. But I got little cups of water everywhere. So when I'm just doing things around the house, I'm like, oh, I forgot to add this thing to this piece and this thing to this piece. And, whenever I have an idea, sketch it out real quick. And it does get kind of frustrating, only because I'm more of a one sitting. I have to get everything done all in one sitting. But you kind of have to come to the realization that you're not able to do that all the time. And once I saw that I can actually finish something in multiple sittings, I'm like, okay, this works too. This works too. And I mean, I still struggle with that.
Of course.
I still struggle with that, but I think it's very important to just get the little things done. Baby steps and small victories are very important.
Small victories are big victories.
Now, I do have a question about these. Oh, that's true. That's true. I do have a question about these water cups. Do you tell people the water cups that are around that it's like a T-Rex early warning alarm?
I do not.
You should. You totally should. That's what it is now. That's why you have the water cups there. It's a much better image. Yeah.
You just watch the cups. It's like, if you see a ripple, it means trouble's coming.
Yeah, exactly. The T-Rexes have escaped, and we need to flee. And but see, that's one of those incredible things is, what you're speaking about is the evolution of an artist. Where you are able to break out of a particular style, and I'm not even saying style as per artistic style, but style as per work style. Right. You're able to break out of a style and really push yourself in another direction. And you're seeing either where it adds to the art that you're creating or where it subtracts. And I think that's incredible. I also love the fact that you have creation stations, and that's what we're calling them now. We're going to market them as creation stations throughout all of the house. So when that moment happens, it's one of the blessing and the curse of being a lyricist and having, an iPhone is at any point in time, I can use voice memos. Right. And as Chesky said when he was on the show, when we die, they're going to look at our voice memos and think we're insane. I was like, dude, if they don't think I'm insane while I'm living, then I'm not living right. But that's just me.
Wrong.
So I think that's incredible. Now, is that something that you came up with, or is that something that, like, I know, you've had other aspects and other careers and stuff, and you actually work with children. And to me, that's like the perfect preschool thing, is like, in every corner, have a crayon and paper, just in case. Is that something that you adapted from that part of your life?
I adapted that just out of uncertainty. I feel
Okay.
that I never knew when I was going to be able to get to my creative room, my creative space, because I like to sit down, I like to do things. It's like, no, you know what? Let me get the little done first when I can. And speaking about, thank goodness for technology. I know that's
That's fine.
because, I use Google Notes all the time. And I just kind of, when I'm in my art programs, I kind of like work with compositions. I take a cool pictures that I see, like, let's say example, like clouds. I see the clouds looking cool. I see my skeleton hands doing something weird. Let me take a picture of it. I take pictures constantly, and I just kind of, I work with compositions every few minutes, and I see something right now. And
Well, if you need to draw while
I'm gonna
we're
write
on
that
air, I
down.
think that'll be the first time we've had art created directly on air. That could be a fun little experiment. But understand you're still going to have to answer questions because as much as Prestige and I like to talk to ourselves, this is your show.
Exactly. This is your moment. And it's getting done.
sometimes
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It is really awesome to see.
It needs to get done. Absolutely.
And Prestige, I mean,
So-
you've seen that 1.5 million times. Like how many times I've like whipped out like like especially when we used to work together. I used to take home those shift note napkins and stuff, and I have lyrics just written all over them.
It's absolutely necessary because you don't want to lose the idea.
Right.
Because if that's gone, then you kind of you're sitting there getting mad at yourself. And like we were saying before, we don't want to get stuck in that mindset. It's
Absolutely
not
not.
fun.
No.
It's
No.
not fun. And everybody gets in that mindset. And if you can find something that helps you with that, then I'd say just go for it.
And that's one of the key things, and making sure you're in an environment that you can do that in as well, as per making sure the people around you are being supportive, and you have this incredible community which we're blessed enough to also have coming through, and continue to grow and build and move forward. But what advice do you have for that person who right now is in that dilemma? That person right now, the world is beating down upon their door, and they really, really need to create because it's who they are, but they can't see that they have that community. They can't see that there is a way. What advice do you have for them?
My advice is to look at the result that you want first. I know that a lot of, let's say, authors like Edgar Allan Poe, he has the ending in mind first. So if you have your end point, your end goal in mind, what's going to get you there? And that's where the small victories come in. Because sure, we would all love an hour or two just to sit there and think, how can I do this? But my advice is keep doing the smaller things. And what I do is not going to work for everybody. Some people like to do their work completely digital. And, it's me, I use it as a tool. I mean, I'm not knocking anybody that likes to do the full process online, but I like to work digital, and I just like the feeling of a brush or a pen or a pencil in my hand. It's just my preference. But whatever you do, don't get stuck. Don't get stuck.
Well, what advice do you have for those that are stuck, though? Because that, to me, is always one of the most incredible things. And I found, like, as a lyricist, listening to Questlove's book about creativity kind of helped me out a lot, where he would say whenever he got stuck or a lyricist got stuck, he would have them go to a book and pick a page and pick a line from that page and incorporate that in there and see if you can write something off of someone else's point of view. I can tell that for a lyricist, but how do you tell that for someone who does visual art? What would be that I don't know, cheat sheet for you?
I think just, I know you were talking about the written word, and I think it's very important. I don't consider myself a reader, but sometimes I just see certain single words. And sometimes I just like to create just around that one word. What visuals come to mind when you see that one word? And
is that
I
one
kinda go
word
with that.
WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven? Myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City made EZ BlueZ is in the building. We got the great Angela Brown Casey, ABC on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Go ahead, Angela. Continue. So if I lose your train of thought, I do apologize. Go right ahead.
Oh no, you good. You warned me. So when it comes to that, when there's visual stuff too, I am a huge movie buff.
Right.
So when I see certain movies and I look at the camera work, I'm like, that scene looks like a perfect still for an actual piece. So I don't just look at scenes and think, oh, this is how I'm going to add this or make this part of the full thing. That scene itself is the full thing to me.
Now, this sparks a question. Oh, shoot. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Spark your question. Spark your question, please.
Okay.
I'll spark too.
Question is sparked while easy sparks. Just based off your answer and just by the information that you're giving us throughout this whole interview, are you 50-50 when it comes to AI as an artist? Because do you feel you see the good things out of it more than the bad things people talk about?
I am 50-50 on that. When it comes to AI, I feel that you shouldn't use it as your end and be all product. I feel that, like, if you use it as a tool, then maybe. But if it takes away something from somebody,
right,
then I have a problem with it. You know, okay, Skynet, please don't come for me.
No. I think they came for us already, but this is my point of view.
They come for us all the time. It's
you
fine.
feel there's a line when it comes to plagiarism, when it comes to AI. It can be used as a nice tool and a sword, but you can go far with it. If
right.
It makes sense. Okay.
All right. You have to look at it from a musical point of view, P. And I actually love how you brought this up because you got to look at it kind of like sampling. You know, using a sample properly in a song could make or break the song. But when the only thing you depend on is that other song to make it through, that's when you have an issue. You know, but you know, a well-used sample, like give me a Shaka Khan record and like 35 minutes with a dope darn line. And you know, it would sorry, I got passionate for a second.
No, I get it. I get passionate too. Just like when people want to give a Grammy to an AI song, which I'm hearing about right now in the news, which really steams my boat.
But sure. No, but okay, fine. Because the Grammys are flipping pointless. It's not real.
It's actually not
real. They're talking about it.
They're talking about it's in talks.
But you want to know what else?
Yeah, that's the same face I had.
What else is happening right now? The Grammys. You know when we usually talk about the Grammys? Maybe in February. So, you know, is a lot of this stuff just out there so that people are thinking about the Grammys? Because honestly, out of all of the award shows, that is the fake United States of counterculture. You know, the Grammys is like the least publicized. I think I hear more about the Tonys than I hear about the Grammys. Let's be real.
Angela, what's the best time to create? Is it right now with us on the radio station during the interview, or does it come as a gut instinct? Does it just instantly happen? Does your spider sense just come out of nowhere and then you just start drawing because you have to just to get it out of your system?
I feel it's a great question, and I actually don't have an answer for that because it happens both ways.
Right.
I feel that when I'm doing now, for example, it's more of a, I don't want to say a stimming. It's more
self-soothing.
Yes.
Okay.
It's definitely a self-soothing behavior. But then on the other hand, when you do have that idea, it's like, oh, oh,
Right.
I'm go for it. But when it comes, I feel that if you get too inspired, it
Mm-hmm.
just puts a lot of pressure. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but when you have that pressure on you, it's like, I have this big idea. I'm going to do this, 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 and this. Then you just get overwhelmed. If you start doing these small sketches or these small little victories in whatever you're doing, it it allows room for mistakes.
Right.
And mistakes are very important, as long as they're not intentionally hurting anybody. I feel that when you make these little mistakes, other ideas come through and you save it for a next piece or a next song or a next book. And it took me a long time to actually feel happy about that. I'm very much a perfectionist.
I feel like you have a hidden microphone inside of the shame practices, because this is actually a conversation we've had almost word for word with your husband. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like dead on. He's like, I'm not playing the solo right. We're like, so what? Play it wrong. It's cool. We want to hear it wrong.
And sometimes I feel like we bond over our insecurities too here in the house, and it's just kind of it's very important to have that support.
No, definitely, and that's what's also great about the Rookery now is that's actually we're so trauma bonded. It's amazing.
For those of you who do not know, Angela's husband is the new member of Shame Penguin, is doing a fantastic job performing with these guys. But that's just a side note. Go ahead, guys.
Shame.
But this is one of those incredible things is when you get to actually know the artist behind the art and different things like that. This is the person that we really want the audience to meet. This is the person that we get to hang out with on Tuesday that tells funny jokes or has that look like, okay, sure, that just happened, with weird strange bald guy that's hitting on my husband. It's
well, I wasn't sure if we could go into that, but
I'm just saying.
My man piece, and I'm gonna say it right now.
As
just
we
just
go
so
on.
people know, as we go on. This is a real version of you. A lot of people will go on to like an interview or something like that, and they have to be the super professional and make sure that everything is pronounced properly and correctly, and make sure they drop the website every 3 seconds. And there's so much stress for that. It's kind of what you were saying, where having too much inspiration can burn you out as well. It's a fantasy, and when you have that idealized version of anything, it's going to fall short. Okay, and for all those, pick whichever movie crush you've had since you were like a child. Whatever happened in your guys' relationship that was fiction in your head is perfect, when in reality it's probably not going to be, and it's going to disappoint you. So if you just go into it with that, I'm just going to create, then you're never let down by that.
Right. It's kind of like a sunk cost type deal. You just put all this investment into an idea, but you're not you're not enjoying the process of working out the kinks or working out what you can change, what can be done differently, what can make it better. But when you just get the ideas out first, you can build upon that. And like I said, it took me a very long time to realize that. And wow, I'm coming to a realization even as we speak. It's just kind of
There you go. That's what we do here on this show. People have realizations on the show. People give us we've had a bunch of breaking things that have happened on the show. We've gotten the exclusive information, like when Neville Wisdom was moving his shop.
Yep.
He told us first on the show when Chesky was talking about working with Fat Mike. It was really first time mentioned on this show. So we love those type of experiences.
Which comes to mind easy.
Yeah.
Sorry about that person.
Nah, I'm sorry. If you want to finish, I'll let you finish, but it just sparked another thought in my head.
Okay.
I want to hear this.
All right, cool. Since we talked about all these accomplishments with Neville and all these other great guests we had on the program, on Angela, just piggybacking off what you just said earlier, what's your definition of success? You said you can't get too inspired, you don't really get caught up, you just want to stay in a consistent flow. But you putting all this great work out on your Instagram and sharing stuff with your audience, what has success defined you? Like, how do you determine it?
I determine it as you think of the occupation and you put that beside the person. Doesn't fit. Are these people known for this? And not in terms of how much money they make or how much exposure they have. But when you know the person, actually know the person, you know them as the artist. And that's how I take it, you know. Of course there's so many definitions in my head going around, but I feel like that's truly what I think. Like sometimes I am approached by people, they're like, "Oh, don't you draw pictures? I think I've seen your work somewhere." I'm like, "Oh, okay, great." And you know, when you have someone recognize you for doing what you love, that's what I measure as success.
Fair.
And those moments
fair.
are absolutely incredible too. You know, especially when they come out of absolute nowhere. You know, you're in a market somewhere or something, and they're like, "Hey, you look," you know. Or I've also had those experiences where people will be talking about me in a group, and not realize I'm in the group. And they're like, "Oh, that dude, like Easy Blues, like he's really cool and stuff." And I was like, "Really? Yeah, I know him pretty well. Really? How well? I am him." You know, that you know, that happens every once in a while. But it's that super where your work goes beyond what you do. And I think that is by far one of the most incredible aspects of it. And now I love how you brought that up too, as well, talking about Instagram and stuff. Now with the evolution of marketing changing as much as it is, and it being more open for independent artists out there like yourself, how are you using social media to benefit you as an artist and to represent your brand?
like to incorporate multiple things. I mean, I don't have, even though I have multiple passions, I do my first passion and I kind of incorporate my other passions to highlight my main passion. Now, let's say I hear a song I like, I want to use it, you know, but you know, you can't always do that due to copyrights and things like that.
But
I have a real joy for video editing. I love editing videos. So it kind of clicked. It really kind of clicked. And I know a lot of people just kind of can do without the editing phase of promoting their artwork, but I love it. I love syncing things up. Thinking the brush strokes, and it's a dance to me. And it's something that you can just do little by little. As long as you have the passive footage, you can kind of just arrange it how you'd like.
You mentioned copyright. How does that work out with illustration? Because that always intrigued me. Because like with music, I understand, because like people can like, you know, do stuff with music and tamper it and, you know, switch stuff up like that. But like with art, how does that work out? Can somebody just who owns that properly go after you, or they can't because, you know, because of artistic value? Like, tell me some type of structure with that situation, if you know that.
I won't speak much about that because I don't have knowledge on that.
All right, that's understandable. But
to kind of keep myself safe, I like to take reference photos on my own, and then I look for the props that I kind of put in my work along with the reference photos, or stock photos,
Okay.
make great references, and things like that.
Now, the actual term and the things for that are, you can do like the copyright, which is the style in which you're actually doing it, and that particular piece itself. So that piece can't be recreated. That is a one-time aspect.
Mm.
Anything that gets reproduced goes to the artist or the artist distributor aspect from there.
Mm.
But then you can trademark, and if you trademark said image, then literally you own every aspect of that image. Like, for example, the Easy Blues logo that I have, I can't technically trademark that because there's a whole bunch of beard companies that have the same type of thing, and I will
Okay.
lose that. I can copyright it, so I can be the only one that uses it with the EZ in it, but I can't trademark it because then it's line for line. Anything that looks similar to it,
Mm.
I would get some sort of royalties for.
Mm.
So that is how complicated it can be. But I really do love that type of aspect because, they say, you see it a lot in music, you see it a lot in those different type of aspects. You don't
Mm.
really see it that much in visual art in the mainstream type of conversation. But, people steal from people all the time. Steal like an artist is a
It
real
really
thing.
is.
Finding that
Right.
inspiration from somewhere else is a real thing. So yeah, you do walk that line a lot. And that's where I think it's really interesting to see where music copyright is going, because you have now people that are trying to sue for the vibe of a song, not
Mm.
necessarily the actual notes. And I think
Mm.
that as much as I appreciate the money going to Marvin Gaye's family, because anything that Marvin Gaye, the world owes Marvin Gaye, so we're good.
Of course. Of
It
course.
also makes it very dangerous with that song that Pharrell and
Blurred lines.
Cheesy McCheeserson, what's his name? Yes,
Robin
that one.
Thicke,
Yes,
Blurred
yeah, you
lines.
knew
Yep.
it. You knew it from Robin
Oh yeah.
Thicke.
Mm.
Yes, Robin Thicke. That's funny. I'm wearing this shirt. Hysterical.
One thing
I
that's
couldn't
not
remember his
funny,
name, but it's on my chest.
and one thing that can be interesting on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Angela, since you're experimenting with the world of video editing, can we get a music video soon with a certain rock band?
Yeah.
Is that a possibility?
However, there is it is a possibility, but I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes. I think you guys already have a designated person, and I'm all
No,
about
Not so.
that's
not
yeah.
intruding.
They mainly take up the lyric video stuff because they
Yeah.
really enjoy the lyric video. Yeah, but you just selling everyone. That's awesome. No, but no, we actually, like, when it comes down to us, and we love to do collabs with artists, period. When we were talking about, you wanting to draw some type of penguin aspect, I said, cool, are you cool with us throwing it on a shirt and doing a collab thing? Because the larger, we don't want to be the boat that rises, we want to be the tide that rises all boats. So, and the more that we can work on that, I know that we were talking about doing a music video with a whole bunch of cosplayers in their full cosplay gear and making it this massively epic thing so that they can also put their art into it. And now it becomes a piece of them. And now they're going to share it as well, and you have that rule of 10. One person tells 10 people, and so forth, and so on, and so on, and so on. So that's kind of like how we do things, especially with the music videos. We always have different people rocking our music videos.
I would totally be open to that.
Yeah, nice.
In fact, actually, the latest one, my one of my youngest it's actually up on the old Pretzel Time version. And I say the old Pretzel Time version because I believe there's going to be a new version released of Pretzel Time because we like this version better. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Just saying. So I think the old version, my kid actually did for their 8th grade video final. So it's up on the
On the
YouTube.
YouTubes.
What are some good
Exactly.
instruments? What are some good tools that artists can use? Just starting out. Let's just say if I wanted just to start painting or started to do like any sketch drawings, like what are some like tricks and like methods that you recommend?
Oh, when it comes to that, because I have art stations all around, sometimes I'm able to even access those. So when I'm on the go, what's always great to have is, if you like to work with water media, always have one of those, like a mini water brush. It has brush setup, but you put water in there. So that way you don't have to have a whole palette. I like to take one of those brushes, and then I have watercolor, either markers or watercolor pencils.
Right.
That way I have the control of a pencil mark, but I can also dilute it if I choose to do so. In tiny sketchbooks, you can't have enough of those. They go right in your pocket.
Awesome.
And if you don't have a pocket book, then get the little ones that fit in your pocket. I promise you it'll make your life different.
Now, now, have you ever thought about doing kind of almost like a patchwork piece of a bunch of the different, small sketch pad pieces that you have? Kind of
That's a good question.
Make it an artistic quilt.
It's a really good question.
I didn't think about that, and now I'm thinking about it, and now I'm setting that up.
I have a tendency, I have a tendency to do that on this show all the time. I'm always at some point look at the guest and be like, "Hey, did you ever think about A, B, C, D, and E?" And they're like, "I didn't before, but now it's all I can think about. So thank you for that. My bad. Sorry."
It's really funny that you said that, because I just went on somebody's live on TikTok, and he just everybody kept trying to go live with him. He's like, "I don't want to go live. I don't want to go live." And then I had an idea in my head. What if all the people went live and they were all in the Brady Bunch on the screen? No, but you just saying that one idea and me just putting that idea on paper gave me 5 new ideas. So now I have material to work with. So thank you for that.
No problem. No problem. And that's actually what we call like tuning into the radio, which is kind of like our writing style. The Shame Penguin is that there's no wrong ideas until it's wrong, and that's one of the most incredible aspects to have. And I really, they say that everything lines up for a reason and a purpose. And this past year has kind of shaken that for a bunch of us in the Penguin world. But I just want to like actually publicly say, you guys are the reason, and it's to make it so much better. And we are thankful for having both of you, actually your whole darn family, dogs and all, in our lives. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, if you met the dogs, I think you change your mind, but I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it.
Angela, was Picasso?
Well, look, they're better than Kenny's dogs, because you've seen Kenny's legs.
Too soon.
What was that?
No, it's all good.
I asked if Picasso was an influence of you, because I'm looking at your Instagram and just seeing some of your pictures, and they're kind of a little similar to Picasso, a little bit Van Goghish. And I'm just scrolling through your art form on social media.
It's crazy that you say that, because I purposely try not to look at people's work.
Okay.
To kind of just
that's cool.
Keep myself.
Yeah.
But it's such a compliment. It's such a compliment. And I've heard the Van Gogh thing a few times. And that just makes me happy.
Oh, definitely. You're welcome.
It just straight up makes me happy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He is one of my favorites.
Yeah, because I'm looking at wonderful, I think it's a bunch of like swans, 3 swans. That looks pretty cool. And you have a lot of nature. I see that you like to draw and everything. You're very, very, very like particular in like what you draw with nature. I think is pretty awesome as well too. Just skimming.
Well,
Thank
you.
You're very welcome.
I kind of like to pull a Batman and kind of become what you're afraid of. I don't like being dirty. You're getting dirty. I don't like dirt on my hands. I don't like. So,
Yeah.
I kind of like, okay, well, what do I like about nature? Well, I love animals. I love
Right.
these little things about nature.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I love birds. Swans are kind of my enemy, though. I got pecked by a swan when I was
Ah,
younger.
Oh.
I figured, again, I pull a Batman.
Oh man, you had
Yeah, pull a Batman,
a.
find something I like about the
right.
swan,
I like them
give it
I like them
purpose.
making no motion on this piece of paper away from me. That's what I like about these swans.
Exactly.
No,
I'm
hey,
still
look,
angry about them
I
to
get
this
it. I
day.
get it. Look, I'll be honest. One of my youngest, they just turned 14, and he's still mad at the doctor that slapped him on the butt when he was born. So we are good with holding grudges. We are petty people, and we appreciate the pettiness. That's all I'm saying.
It's just being a human being.
That's true.
It's just being I mean, I still have a little grudge with the lunch lady sometimes. You could have gave me a bigger portion of food. you know.
Think about those to
You
this
can't help
day.
it.
It's like, what happened to that other scoop, though?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, right? It's funny
Yeah.
because you don't always remember your grudges either
Mhm.
until someone
Hmm.
kind of says it. But my mother told me that I think I slapped someone's hand when I was like
Mhm.
2
Hmm.
because they're
Right.
trying to take a French fry away from me. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
anytime anybody
Yeah.
tries to get to my fries, it's like, nope,
No, 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 no,
no,
no.
no,
That's
First
no.
of all,
understandable.
that no matter what, that is a sin upon sins upon sins. No, I mean, so much so it was mentioned in the amazing work of art known as Men at Work, that had both Estevez and Sheen in the movie together. It was an amazing thing. But there's a scene where they try to grab a fry from a guy and he slaps their hand and no one never touch another man's fries. That is a mortal sin. Don't touch another human's fries ever. All right.
I gotta take into account that and Chris Tucker from Rush Hour. You don't touch my radio either.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
I usually
Yes, exactly.
do this question from musicians that I did on past episodes, Angela, but I wanted to know just as just an artist, because you do pictures and paintings and material like that. Do you ever feel a picture is ever done when you finish it? Do you feel like there's something else you can put like towards a painting? Because usually with musicians, they have songs, they finish these like amazing amounts of art, and then they feel, man, maybe I should have done this, maybe I should have done that, maybe I should have tweaked it around. Do you feel that way, or do you feel like once it's done, it's completed, I can move on to the next project?
Sometimes I feel like nothing is ever complete, and then
Mm,
other times I'm like, I want to mess with this anymore. It's not giving me the satisfaction that I was looking for.
right.
Even if I planned it out in my head, like, well, if it was done, would I be happy with it? No, put it to the side, worry about it later, get to the next idea.
No,
Definitely.
definitely.
So with that being said, make sure you have enough storage space.
Yeah, you need a lot of storage space. That's true. But um, the musician side, we actually talk about every song as a bonsai tree. You're always trimming, you're always pruning it. It's never ever finished because it's constantly growing and it's constantly evolving. So I can only imagine, like, yeah, I would go nuts if I had to just like you did this once and only once and never do it again. I would lose my mind. But Angela, I want to know from the truest of cores and aspects for that kid right now that is dodging class because you should be in school right now. It's during lunchtime. But the kid that's cutting class right now and floundering, what advice do you have for them? Can you tell them it is okay to be an artist?
It is okay to be an artist. You well, first of all, get back to class. You need to be in class, okay? Just for formalities, get that done. But choose that study hall as your time. Because not only if you are an artist and you like to doodle,
Mhm.
if there's a question you're stumped on your homework, doodle a little bit. The
Mm,
answer will come back to you.
Mm.
Definitely.
Of course, I can have a million other answers later on in the day,
That's
but I think that's all of
that's awesome. But unfortunately, they are pulling the old Apollo curtain upon us. And this time is yours. Please tell people how to get in contact with you, how they can support you as an artist. If you have a cash app that they can just send money directly to, let them know. Can they do a cup of coffee? Like, how's this done?
Oh, good question. There is a site called Coffee, KO-FI, and I have a little donation thing set up. You're more than welcome to check it there. But check out my main site for all of my links at abkc.com.
Nice. And you wrapped everything up, BC. I'm sorry. Got a little brain fart.
No,
That's
the first person
yeah.
that only had one link that had everything
Yeah.
on there. Usually the person's like, you can check me on this one and on this one and on that one and on that one. And then you can go to my website and it has all that on there. So, but no, this is great. That was efficient.
Well, I also studied UX design, so I have to make sure that things are accessible. And
Oh, okay.
yeah.
There you go.
Wait for another day.
Well, Angela, we thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you very much. It's been an honor just to know a little more about you and have a lot of great information just knowing about you today. And it's been a good time on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City Made, EZ Blues. Appreciate you.
Wondering what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know.